Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to the STO HFM technical course number 235, as it is officially called, but it's on aeronautical risk assessment. And in the NATO regulations, STO regulations, I have to give an update on the STO. Well, I'm going to do that, and I hope it will not annoy you with all unnecessary slides about organizations. But we have the Human Factors and Medicine panel who is organizing. Well, science and technology in NATO, and that's something that already since '53. Started in 1953 with AGARD, Advisory Group Aerospace Research and Development, founded by a German, Theodor von Karman, who told scientific results cannot be used efficiently by soldiers who have no understanding of them, and scientists cannot produce results useful for warfare without an understanding of the operations. Well, and that's something really important, but because everything results on how the boots on the ground, how the airmen, the soldiers, the seamen, how they can perform the duty with their equipment and organization, and that all should have a scientific start on that one. And that's starting in our organization, coordinating technical research and technical research in NATO, coordinating. So since the 1st of July last year, we have been reorganized, because last year I was over here and talking about the Research and Technology Organization, and now it's Science Technology Organization. And that's because we had a minor change in all the science within NATO, because we have now something called, and you can find it over here, CMRE. And that's the Center for Maritime Research and Experimentation, also known as NERC, the NATO Underwater Research Center in La Spezia in Italy. That was also brought within the scope of the science and technology. So, the long legacy, as it started, 52, 53 started the whole agency and some reorganization. It's already a long legacy, but known. Trust and confidence are two of the buzzwords on that. We have a mission to help the nations and NATO S&T investments, but conducting and promoting S&T activities, enable and influence security defense related capability development and threat mitigation. It's not only about war anymore, it's also about homeland security related to the defense forces, and also defense against terrorism. And one important thing that our results have to do is support decision making in the NATO nations and NATO. And so also for the politicians to make the right decisions as we consider them right. Well, a complete business model, and we are working within NATO with all types of other agencies, with the MAGs, and those are the military armament groups. And we have like ACT, Allied Command Transformation in Norfolk, who is giving guidance, and we're also working with ACO, Allied Command Operations. And that's really, really important. And the STO is CSO, the hub in the spoke. So the panels, we have 6 panels in one group. As we started in 1968, or 98 with 6 panels, and later on it was established a group. But in NATO there must be a unanimous decision. So no one wanted to break the charter again and to start writing it again, so they called the last one a group. Just a small workaround. And what you see in here are many of them as technology, information, system, concept, studies, technology, and technology. So many things are based on technology. All those things that buzz and make sparks or whatever, it's something you can hold in your hands, an appliance. And they have a scope on developing things and research with a scope of normally about 20 years, 15 to 20 years. Because when you think about procurement of a new piece of equipment we have research done, industry takes over, tries to make a model, try out, and then you get the whole procurement system and training, and before it's effective in the forces, you are about 20 years ahead. So it's always like that. And then we have something in the middle of that, sometimes like a joker, human factors and medicine. And whatever you do, there is always a human factor involved. Even in the unmanned systems, there are people manning it, but from the ground. There's always a human thing in it, and training, and maintenance, and whatever. All humans involved. Well, collaborative networking environment. We have, and that's really important to us, the reports and standards. Those are really our outcome, the reports. The standards also made by the modeling and simulation, the group that we have, also on simulation. Technology demonstration whenever possible. Well, for human factors, technology demonstration is rather difficult. Educational opportunities, and that's really important, to educate our people and have the means to educate our people. But we want to have it science-based, evidence-based, and proven that it works. And then toolbox we use, symposia. Normally at the HFM we have 2 symposia a year. Next month we will have in Milan on revalidation, rehabilitation. Really important, as there are so many, and we already saw this week several of the presentations of multiple amputations. And how to treat those people and give them back a worthy life and value them. It's really important. And all the progress made in that. So this is for us in Milan next month. In October we will have another symposium in Orlando, Florida, and that will be on Beyond Time and Space in all the work. And we already saw something, space, time and telemedicine, and get it on remote. Maybe a good one. Specialist meeting this year, so a pity we don't have one. Workshops. Normally done and just brainstorming by about 20, 30 invited scientists on a topic and see how they continue on that. Task groups, our main body of activities, 3 years. There is a problem within the medical community or the human factors somewhere, but the countries need to have a solution. A technical activity proposal is written, terms of reference, and the countries decide we want to participate with at least 4 countries. And then after 3 years they produce a technical report. And when it's really what we want to achieve is that after that we can have a symposium on the topics, or maybe a lecture series or a technical course like this one. But normally a lecture series also, because when we have a technical report, how to disperse it, we can put it on the internet, send it to the national libraries, military libraries, and then. But the ones really important to use the results are the mid-level scientists, but also the mid-level military, the captains, the majors, and also the lieutenant colonels in the operational units. They have to benefit from the results. So if we can reach those people, and from them, again, the soldiers, the airmen, the sailors, then we get back to boots on the ground, and that's really important. When we have to rush an activity, we don't have to do a whole procedure through our board for approval in all the countries. We go to our director and we can establish a specialist team with at max 2-year working time. We normally want to have it done within a year. It's like a think tank together and get the results done. And sometimes a topic is difficult and there is something. They have a vague idea. We have a problem. And to establish really these terms of reference or the technical activity proposal, we use an exploratory team. Is it feasible? And if so, what are going to be the tap and tour to write them? And we use those in the ETs. So, the HFM panel mission. What do we have as a mission? Optimize health, safety, well-being, performance of the human in operational environments. Well, I just explained a lot of that. And then we have a long-term capability requirement given by ACT, and that's Human Performance Enhancement. And you had last year the technical course on the airman or the pilot's performance enhancement. And that's just a part of it, because it's a huge domain. And ACT is now transferring this one from LTCR to common targets, collective targets within NATO, and we have again human performance enhancement and also system integration. Well, on that, the scope for the panel with this mission is really big, huge. So we have, from 24 NATO countries, we have representatives, about 60 people working in our panel. Several of them are present today. And so we have divided in 3 areas: human effectiveness, psychosocial, organizational, cultural, cognitive aspects in military action. Human system integration, human in the system, design, evaluation and experimentation, especially design. Because sometimes the scientists, they start, or the engineers, and then at the result, the human should fit in or has to handle the stuff, and you can start all over again. And then the biggest one we have, with about half of our people in it: health, medicine and protection. Military medicine, health, sustenance, safety, psychological tolerance, protection and survivability. And protection is also part of it in the nuclear, biological and chemical warfare, and all the excuse me, and occupational health, everything in adverse mission environments. So they are working. And together we have activities, about 43 active at the moment and about 10 awaiting closure for the reports. Well, panel management. Our chair, Professor Dr. Erik Vossen, Norwegian trauma surgeon. He is going to hand over in April. And then it will be Dr. John Tangley from the US. He is not medical. He is in modeling and simulation and training to use, as we are normally alternating between medical chair and the human factor part. But then we have the vice chair, who is Brigadier Professor Dr. Corinne Room, who is a doctor and from the French Air Force, and she is going to be the vice chair, and she will also be the intermediate one to the COMETS, the Committee of the Medical Directors, all the Surgeon Generals meeting twice a year. And she is also one, not only being a medical doctor, but also one who is really into system integration. So she is in both, and we are lucky to have one. Well, me as the executive already for 5 years, a little over 1 more year to go, and my assistant, without whom I can't perform my duties, Daniel Pella. Well, what are the military medical areas we try to cover within the panel? Occupational medicine, operational military medicine, human protection, preparedness in extreme conditions, extreme heat, extreme cold. A few years ago we had one symposium in Helsinki in Finland about soldier in the cold. Well, appropriate area to hand that, because it was still snow and the Baltic Sea was still frozen at that time. Organization and training, selection on soldier and selection, but also on recruitment and retention. We just finished an activity on that. Performance enhancement and intelligence, epidemiologic intelligence, health surveillance. We heard something about that yesterday already on Africa and all the dangers and hazards over there. Factors affecting future medical services. We have changes in population. We have changes in demographics. And people are going to be trained or schooled more and more, and we need the ones, just sometimes the hands. Advances development medical technology. We saw some examples this morning. Weapons and technology development. It's going fast. Expectation, healthcare doctrines, and expectations that when you are in the military and you get wounded somewhere, that you get the treatment equal to the one as in civilian life at home. Well, sometimes it could be better to be wounded in Afghanistan than in the streets of New York. Sometimes you were treated faster and sometimes even better. But also future military medical care. And those are all questions to be solved. Changes. Lifestyle impact on healthcare and disease. We just finished, one of the groups finished a technical report on the impact of lifestyle on military fitness. And we had yesterday a small demonstration on the CrossFit, but also on health, fitness. And the sergeant, master sergeant over there, he mentioned when you are eating, you're having your food and it's coming out of a box. Don't use it, but prepare it yourself fresh or whatever. And that's something that in countries we are suffering, that people get more and more obese because of convenience food, fast food, easy going, fast, I don't want to cook. And we have all those programs on cooking on television. But still we have the people, nice to show, but go out to the fast food and get some stuff. And affecting our forces, performing the duty while on mission. And not only when we have to recruit them, but also when they are with the ages rising within the forces and still at 40, 50 perform the duty. Expectation of health services changes both civilian and military. Responsibility for the whole health spectrum. That's what we all also have to cover. So lifestyle consequences. Well, people being overweight, so the amount of possible recruits is diminishing. And so I read that for young ones that they have a lower lifetime expectation than the parents, sometimes even now. And that's a pity that's going well. Surgical medical treatment to improve the function, the $6 million man and woman, something like that. Are we going to do that or not? Gene technologies, we don't know what's going on. Advances in development in medical technology, telemedicine. Well, we saw that teleradiology this morning. Medevac, technologies for bleeding control. In the Netherlands, the soldiers are equipped with the clotting bandage when they are on a mission. When I was just enlisted, we didn't have it and we just had a bandage. And people having the tourniquets with them. What we were just improvising when really needed. Well, robotic sensors, enabling technologies for the first responder. When I went out as the medic, I just had a small bag. When I now see the medics going out, they have a complete backpack, about 20 kilos, wearing them. So yes, it's changing all for them. Weapons technology, unmanned vehicles. And not only unmanned vehicles because they're on the ground, in the water and also aerial. But they are going to be together in systems, system related. Armored vehicles, body armor, CBRN advancements and use of type of explosives. And many of those improvised explosives. We have something different. Expectations, what already in '99 was done, to meet standards acceptable for all participating nations, even in crisis or conflict. The aim is to provide a standard of medical care as close as possible, prevailing peacetime national medical standards, given the difficulties of doing so in an operational setting. But that's what we always try to achieve in the operational. And we, from the science technology, we want to help you to achieve those goals. That's really important. Future military medical care, evidence-based, same quality of care, emphasis on medical intelligence, joint NATO registries to provide evidence for quality assessment. Well, the trauma registry, it was yesterday mentioned in the last presentation, just about the JTTCR, and that one is taken as a standard for NATO, and this year going to be implemented in NATO. So all countries are going to contribute to the joint trauma registry, and that will be international, and that will be also brought to the Center of Excellence for Military Medicine in Hungary and Budapest. But that's important because now the actions, the missions, Iraq, Afghanistan are ending, but in a few years it will be silent and we have to go for other missions, maybe Africa or wherever, and then we have to start again and have some results somewhere hidden. What were the best ways to treat people? And it's also a big database for raw data for the future research, and we can go on with that and improve the medical system. Training also really important for responders and soldiers, and especially also the soldiers in the medical part. Follow-up after service. Well, it's just a short one because I don't want to annoy you with all those informations, but go to the website STO, NATO, and you find also on there the CSO website, Collaboration Support Office, and over there you can find more information on the Human Factors in Medicine panel. Go for publications and you find there all about, I think, over 100 technical reports and meeting proceedings from symposia, specialist meeting, or educational notes on all kinds of courses and lecture series. Because you can find it. We already have sometimes an answer to questions you have. And that's the big problem, dispersing the results that we have. Also look for the brochure in the newsletter. Well, the brochure about 212 is still being prepared, but we have one of the old RTO. Any questions? No? Okay. Well, if you want to have more information, my email, my telephone, and that's I'm, as a Dutch Lieutenant Colonel in the Army, not being a medical doctor, not being a flight surgeon, presenting up to you, but working for NATO and having my work in Paris, in France. So if you see my badge, they're calling me from France, but I'm Dutch. So, but you can try to speak to me in French. I try to speak back. Yeah, but if you want to have some information, try to contact me or my assistant, Daniela. She is really French. So write down my email. If you have any questions later on, contact me. Don't hesitate to contact me. Yes?